border bill talking point has dropped, so let's talk about what it is. The new talking point is that it is Trump's fault that it didn't pass. In fact, Trump doesn't want border security to pass before he's elected because he's going to use this as a campaign thing. He wants it to remain a disaster so he can point fingers and say, look how horrible the Democrats are. Look at what they did to the border. And he told Republicans not to vote for it, and now they didn't, so that's why it didn't pass. That is the new talking point. Is that true? No, that's absolutely not true. But is it true that Trump did send a message out on his social media app saying that Republicans should vote no on this, that it's a disastrous, horrible bill? Yes, that absolutely is true. But it's also true that this isn't a border security bill, and that's why a lot of Republicans didn't like it and didn't vote for it. What this was, it was about half funding for border, but it wasn't even security, it was processing. We'll get into that in just a second. And then half aid to Israel and Ukraine. So it wasn't a border security bill. It was about half and half. Now, you could say if this was mostly border security and then they put a little bit of pork in there to get a few little wins for themselves, yeah, I would say, you know what, in that case, you compromise, just vote for it. Okay, there's a small bit of pork in there, but we can compromise. Let's get border security is important. But that's not at all what this was. This was pork with border in it, but it wasn't even border security. It was border crossing. This was a bill that led up to 5,000 people in per day until they put a cap on it. This is a bill that at the discretion of the president, they can decide what in fact is asylum. So you could actually say that anyone has asylum. This was a bill that in fact gave more funding just to process and resettle more people. This wasn't about closing what's already happened. This was about upping the processing capability so that we can bring even more people in. Meanwhile, you have cities all across the United States which are having to cut budgets for essential services because they can't care for the illegal immigrants that they already have in their city. So we can't even take care of the people who have already poured in under this administration. And this bill is trying to make it so we can just process even more people to bring them in. I don't know how that's even possible at all, but this wasn't a security bill, and that is in fact why it didn't pass. And it is preposterous to keep blaming the surge of people coming over the border on the one man who actually tried to fix it. And it's so funny if you look back in history at the Democratic talking points about the border. For a while, first it was, we inherited a broken immigration system under Trump. It was a disaster under Trump. Well, we know that's not true because it was actually the most orderly it's been in about 45 years. We were at a 45-year low in illegal crossings, and that is because of a few executive orders that Trump did. Remain in Mexico, construction of the border wall. There were a few other things that he did that really helped to curb the flow. Joe Biden's very first day in office, he reversed everything that that Donald Trump did. Not only that, he told people, come, surge the border. That's what he said during the campaign. And that's why when you go to the southern border and you actually interview people, why are you coming? Why? Biden's letting us. Biden. They're here to work. They're here because we have incentivized people to come here. We're saying come. And then we also have sanctuary cities where we're giving them free things. So first it was we inherited a bad system under Trump. False. Then it was the border is closed. There's no chaos at the border. There's no chaos at the border. And then that was clearly not true because we all have eyeballs. And then it was, well, it's Congress. Congress needs to pass legislation. Congress needs to pass legislation. So the goalpost keeps completely moving on the border. And the thing about Congress needing to pass legislation, we have laws on the books right now. Are there loopholes in our immigration system that would take a legislative action that would take Congress to pass? Sure, there's definitely some things that need to be fixed, some things that need to be tightened up. And yes, that will take a Congress and that will take legislation going through. But in order to fix what is happening right now at our southern border, we need no extra money, we need no extra resources, we need nothing except for this administration to follow the laws that are on the books. But that is the problem. They are choosing not to do that and then just shifting the blame everywhere else so no one looks at the real problem, which is them. This is them. This is the Biden administration. This is them. It is their problem to fix, but they do not want to fix the problem. And why? Why are they trying to get as many people in the country as possible? Because it seems like what they're doing. And anyone who tries to stop it, who tries to slow the curve, when Arizona tried to put the shipping containers, when Texas tried securing certain parts and putting razor wires over, the Biden administration comes in and tries to stop them, to allow more people to come in. So it is absurd, but they are still attempting to blame Trump. The reason that Trump did not like this border security bill, the reason that Republicans did not like this border security bill is because it was the opposite of a border security bill. It was horrible legislation. It was a horrible bill. Nobody liked it, even before he mentioned anything. Not because they're trying to have a campaign talking point, because this wasn't a border security bill. What this would have done was actually make it okay to bring as many people in as possible. It would make it difficult to remove people. So this was a horrible piece of legislation. And no, they did not turn it down because Trump told them to. But just so you know, that is the new talking point that will be going out. This is very much a Biden admin man-made crisis that is happening. It is not a Republican crisis. But thank you for watching. That's all I have to say about that right now.